Hey there, Alan Matthews here. In this video, we're going to talk about a bunch of different things you can do with your scales to make your playing much more alive, more expressive, more fluid, more easily manipulated to where whatever you want to do, you can do it because you practice all the different things. Now there are infinite possibilities in this realm of variations on your scale practices. We're just going to touch on a few here, and hopefully it'll get your creative juices flowing and you can come up with your own in your practice and keep things interesting, keep things moving along and exciting in your own practice every single day. So let's touch on a few practice variations using scales. So there are tons of different things that you can do in your practice with your scales that can make your playing so much more alive, so much more expressive, so much more musical. And so let's start off with this first one, and this is just one. Later it will become into your music more, but really what it does is it really shores up your technique and makes it to where you're much able to go faster later by moving faster, slower now. Let me explain that. So ultimately we think, okay, I want to be able to blaze my scales really fast. Well, the speed isn't really the issue here. And if your goal is fast scales, then you're only really getting half the picture, because what your scales should be is fluid. You want ability with your scales. You want to be able to do whatever it is that the music calls for in your scales. And so this is one way that we can get that. And that is, as you play one note, you immediately prep the next note. Very short note that was, yes? So that with your I and M, just like we've been talking about I and M, you immediately prep the next note. If you go to the next string, then your thumb will mute out the string that you just played, because that's the way that we play our scales, is moving the thumb around. If you saw that other video, if you've seen the other videos. If you're coming back up in space, down the strings in pitch, then there will be a long note. Because the point is to prepare the next note, not mute out the last note. It happens to mute out the last note on the way down in space, up in pitch, up the strings, because of the way that the thumb works. But what that does is it makes it to where you're moving very quickly, you're preparing the next note very quickly, so all of your movements are lightning fast. But then you put space in between them, so you're not playing, you're not moving fast throughout, because that's hard. But what it is this right here. And then wait, and then there's the next one. And then the next one, and then the next one. So you're moving very fast, but then you're waiting. And then you're moving very fast, and then you're waiting. And so in this way, you're actually practicing. Now, there's also a concept called speed bursts, and this is a different thing. This is kind of like a localized speed burst, and we'll talk about speed bursts in just a couple of minutes. And they're kind of similar, but they're really not so similar at the same time. So in this one, this is the quick prep. You basically take as much time as you need. We do this on arpeggios as well. This is a great thing because it's constantly dealing with preparation. And I'm sure, as you know, preparation is really crucial to being really secure in your playing and knowing what's going on and be thinking ahead and getting into the habit of thinking ahead. So this is quick prepping. It's what I call it. I'm sure somebody else has some other clever name. And so you can do this with every single scale. Whatever scale shape you want on that. In time, what that turns into is just playing faster, because you're actually playing faster in each individual motion. Each motion is fast, but then you're waiting between. And at first I would go slow like this and put a lot of time in between each note and just focus on the preparation of the next note. That's the point, not the playing of the current note, the preparation of the next. It happens at the same time, but that's where you want your attention. The second one that I'd like to talk about is playing really legato, and this is a completely different thing. So instead of stopping the note and preparing it, what we're doing now is you're actually throwing your finger out, getting ready over the string, but then you're not actually touching the string to prepare it. Instead of going, which is what the last one did, quick prepping, We're going and then we're constantly having a finger on the string. This one, you don't. You just go above it, and then whenever you play, boom, then the other one floats above the other one, but it's still very fast. Now what this does, this is ultimately how we want to play our scales, is very legato. What is legato? Smooth and connected. And so here, we're not actually touching the string before we play it. This goes in, this is a big subject, legato. But the main thing to remember is that there are three parts of every single note. There's the beginning, a middle, and an end. And the beginning is what we see, that's what we typically think of, which is I play the string now. So if we're playing with a metronome, we're probably thinking mainly about the beginnings of the notes because we're just trying to put the beginning of the note with each click. Click, click, click. That's what we're thinking about, is the beginning of the note. If we're holding notes, thinking about quarter notes, half notes, whole notes, then we're thinking about the middle of the note. How long does it last? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. Something like this, then the question is how long does each one last? That's the middle of the note, is the sustain. The end of the note, and this is the one that is really, it makes so much difference in your playing and your overall beauty of your playing, is how you handle the ends of your notes. In this phrase, the end of the notes, a lot of people have some weird baggage around that, but luckily I'm sure you do not. What it is it's the end of the note is the way that the note either ends, meaning you stop it, or the way that it connects to the next note. And so if we're just doing one note, and we're playing really legato, then the end of that note butts right up against the new note. And so it's not stop, and then there's a gap, and then there's a new note. That's a different type of end of the note. We could do it with rest, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So there the end of the note is on the half, is on the 8th note if we're playing quarter notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and. 16th notes, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and up, 4 E and up. So you can really place the end of the note wherever you want it. But if you can get really intentional about where you put it, then you can be much more expressive in your playing because you'll have more control over what it is that you're doing. So when we're playing legato, what we want to do is we want to butt that note right up against the other one. And what that takes, first off, you want to just do this on open strings. Because it's a whole different thing, because you have to basically snatch that note out of thin air. You can't actually put your finger on the string and then play it, put your finger on the string and then play it like this, because then you'll stop the string, right? What you have to do is, boom. You have to float and then move through it, and then float and then move through it. Now, I would definitely do the quick prepping first, because what the quick prepping does, that we did first, what that does is it teaches your fingers where exactly you want to place them on the strings. Now, when we play legato, we still want to place our fingers in the exact same places when we actually play through the string. It just happens very quickly. We prep and play pretty much instantaneously. So fast that we can't actually hear it. We're still stopping the string and replaying it. We have to. But it just happens so fast. And so quick prepping comes before this legato playing, because you need to actually, your fingers need to know where to actually play the string, so you're not just batting at it, bang, 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 and just swiping at it through the air. So when you're doing this, listen like crazy to one note connecting to the next. There's a millisecond in there, and it might go, in which case you want to just say, okay, I need to like butt these up more together. These need to be right at the same time and make it really legato. When you put your right hand in and you actually your left hand and you're starting to play scales, well, then this entails the trickiness, which is the synchronization of the hands, because you can't lift this note, lift, play, lift, play. You can't do this type of thing. I'm exaggerating, of course, you wouldn't actually do this. But also you can't get ready for the next one. You can't get ready for anything either, which means that you have to synchronize the action. So this one has to move every bit as fast as this one. There's this window that is very small. It's such a small window to where this hand synchronizes with this hand, so that this moment that this hand is playing the string, the new finger comes down. And yes, it's like a gazillionth of a second where this finger goes on, this finger stops, the left hand goes on, and this finger on the right hand stops the string and then replays it. It all happens in like 1 gazillionth of a second. And so you want to just really listen, and your ear has to be your guide on this. Go slow. If you try to do it fast, you will have the illusion of perfection. Oh, I'm playing it very legato. And if speed gives the illusion of perfection, this is something to really remember in your playing, because so many of us want to play fast. It's fun to play fast. But what it does is it makes us think that we're playing perfectly, and oftentimes we're not. And so playing slowly is actually way harder than playing fast. And the slow pieces are oftentimes much harder than fast pieces because they're so exposed. Fast pieces, they can, they have a particular, glitter to them or something. So where it's like if I'm playing really fast, then it's flashy, and so I'm obviously a great player. Whereas if you play something really exposed and really slow, well then all of a sudden the connections of your notes are very important. The way that you phrase and how you choose to move from one note to the next dynamically and all this. I mean, all that is so much harder than just blasting out some fast notes. Anybody can do that. Look at the heavy metal world. That's not beautiful music, but it's fast. So what? Okay, moving right along. So that's legato playing. It's an amazing technique in your arsenal. If you have great legato playing, then chances are you are well on your way to playing beautifully. It's well worth your time. The next one we're going to talk about is speed bursts. And this actually, now that we've been talking all this about speed, then this is speed burst. So we actually do want to be able to play fast because some pieces require us to. It's a tool. That's all it is, speed. So one way is that we can mix the fast playing with the slow playing. So rhythmically, we could do something like 4 quarters and then 8 eighths or something like this. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3. Something like that, to where you're actually splitting long notes and short notes. As a shorter thing, it could be something like 2 eighth notes and then 4 sixteenths. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1. So you're playing fast, but it's only in a small burst. And that way, you don't have the tension build up in your hand from playing fast. Now I'm redlining and I'm overdriving my hand because it's constantly fast. If you start going too fast for yourself and you do it too much and you lock up, you get that. I don't know if you've ever seen cats play with something. They go with the paw. It's that cat paw, and it's a kind of a spasm more than it is a quick movement in control. It's more of a spasm, and that's not what we want in our playing. We want to be completely in control, so that if we're playing something and there just happens to be some fast notes going on, that we can just effortlessly put those in and still play them beautifully and still play them connected and legato with beautiful tone and phrase it the way that we want to play it. We have all that available to us, and so why not work it up to where we can do that? So those are speed bursts. Alternate slow with fast. Here's the thing, it's got to always be in rhythm. I highly recommend that you play scales with the metronome as much as possible. Whenever you're playing your scales, that's the time to play the metronome. Pieces, maybe not, but metronomes are not inherently musical, but time is an element of musicality, and so you have to have it, and scales are a great place to play that. So use your metronome with the scales. The next one I want to talk about is accents. And so in accents, we can just choose a note. We could say every fourth note, so the downbeat. It's like if we're playing in 4/4 times, 4/4 time and 16th notes, then it's just basically the downbeats. So, and remember, I don't know if you've seen the other videos, but with accents, it's not so much about playing the downbeat loud or the accented note loud. It's about bringing everything else down and creating more contrast. So yes, the accented note's a little bit louder, but mainly everything else is a little bit quieter. So it's all about contrast. It's not about loudness. So 1, 2. And as always, we want to exaggerate. So if you're going to play with accents, then you really want to play your unaccented notes incredibly quietly and your accented note very loudly. And remember, with accents, the basic rule one of the basic rules, one, bring everything else quiet so that then the accent note pops out more. But then the other one is watch out for that note right after the accent, because the note right after the accent is oftentimes really, it's easy for that note to get loud. And so that's your switch from loud to soft. And so any kind of tension in your hand will linger over to that. So if you need to, you could go 1. That was a totally different rhythm, but you get the picture. You make it a longer note so that you have time to reset. 1, E and a 2, E and a 3, E and a 4. Something like that, to where you actually put a full beat in there, offset it so that you can actually make the break, because we want it to be, there's the accent and then there's the unaccented, not accent first, unaccented, next, unaccented, next, unaccented, next, like that. So you want the accent to be up here, everything else to be at the same level down here. And you can do this also in threes and triplets. Triple, 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 triple. Something like that. So, and then every other note, you can do every 5. You can do whatever you like. Accents, it's great because it takes a little bit of control. As you get faster with the metronome, then all of a sudden you have these increasing complexities in the things that you're doing. So keep the metronome going even with the accents as well. The next variation on your practice you could do would be different articulations. So what is an articulation? Articulation is how you play it. So staccato versus legato could be one really common example of an articulation. So you could go something like short, short, long, short, short, long. This combines legato and the quick prep playing. So you could play your quick prep for staccatos. And then a long note. And then make sure that that note connects to the next staccato. Ba-dum. So in other words, listen again to the legato, listen to the connection, the end of the long note. So it's not, so you don't actually stop the long note and then play the staccato, you actually connect it to it. But you could do any combination, you could do short, long, short, long. Something like that. You could just make any kind of combination of those. You could do all shorts, all longs. You can do any kind of combination, but changing up the articulation would be another one. The next one would be dynamics. And these, I think if you only do one, then, well, it would be the quick prep and then the legato. But if you were going to do 3, the quick prep, the legato, and this one, because it transfers so much into your music of playing beautifully, and that is using dynamics. And so we may start loud, get softer as we approach this top, and then get louder as we go to the bottom. As an example, start loud and just start to wane it off. Remember, we have a long way to go. Don't get too quiet too fast. Yes, I overdrove the instrument right there. So what? If you're exaggerating and you're playing exaggeratedly, then actually work it. Work the entire range of the instrument. How loud can you go? Actually go to the point where you actually do overdrive it so you know where it is, and that way you can actually play just below it. Whenever you go all the way quiet, go all the way to where it just has to ping, but it should be. as quiet as possible, as loud as possible, so that you're getting all of your shades of gray in there. And so really do that. The other thing that you could do with using dynamics would be little surges. So how about this one? How about soft, 3 notes? We're going to do 16th notes. The downbeat will be just how about a regular mezzo forte downbeat? Boom. And then for the ianda, the next 3/16ths, then we could put soft, medium, loud on that. So that we're actually crescendoing. So we have. So that you're actually then you're basically connecting with a crescendo. Dum, and then to here, and then to here, and then to here. Dum, da, 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 dum, da, da, da. Little swells. And this is very musical. And your pieces, that's exciting. When you're playing music. Da, 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 dum, da, da, da. Constantly this opening like this. Playing with that sort of thing. That was a little fast. I don't know if you could actually hear it. The other thing would be to decrescendo them. Da 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 da. I don't use that one nearly as much when playing pieces because I think it kind of is draining. It's kind of it's like this sire. Just like, I don't know if you've ever talked to someone who sighs a lot, but it'll just completely suck the energy right out of you. It's a real drain. And this can happen musically as well. I can't even hardly play that way. It's a device, but it's a little depressing. Crescendos, I think, get more for your bang, more bang for your buck. And so little surges of crescendos here and there will be really useful in your playing, and the more of them that you put in your playing, if they're in good spots, then it's great stuff to do. And it takes a lot of control with your right hand, and that's the point of all these variations, is to get a lot of control into your playing, and control in a way that actually transfers musically to something you can actually use with any luck. The last one I'm going to tell you about right now is switching up your scale into patterns. And jazz players do this a lot. So if we take a scale, so everything else has been mainly right hand based, except for the legato, which also combines the synchronization of the hands. This one is a little bit more brain work for your left hand, but then it also makes it harder for your right hand as well. And so what we do with patterns is, they're also called digital patterns, is we take the scale and we think of it as numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, as we go up like this. And so what we do then is we make a pattern. Let's say we go up 3, we'll go, it's 1 for free. We'll just start off with 1. Then we're going to go up 2 and back 1. And then back up. And then up 2. And then back 1. And so you go up in some kind of pattern besides just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could go 1, 3, 2, 4. The sky's the limit as far as the patterns you could create on this. But what it does is it makes your string crossing much more intricate with the right hand. It makes it to where your string crossings are much more elaborate, much more intricate, much more complex. Instead of just playing multiple notes, you're oftentimes just playing 1 on each string, and you'll oftentimes have to go back with an inconvenient finger, such as I playing a higher string and then M having to play the next lower string down. Then it can be weird in the hand, and so you have to get used to that, which is great. So that's a whole bunch of different variations you can do with your scale practice. I hope that you can use those and keep it creative. The main thing when you're practicing scales is to keep it interesting so that you can stay engaged and be always practicing something that is actually bringing your music forward. If you're ever just kind of droning away, sawing away at scales with your mind completely elsewhere, your mind's out on vacation, then why waste your time with that? You always want to be engaged and focused in what you're doing. And so keep the complexity such that you can actually stay in, that it demands 100% of your attention. You should always be at a particular point where you are completely and entirely engaged in what you're doing. And if you're not, then ramp up the complexity, ramp up the creativity, ramp up the demands on yourself so that it takes more of your energy to do it. Practicing should be an active sport. So that's a bunch of stuff that we just went through. Articulation, dynamics, rhythms, all kind of stuff. So always vary it up, challenge yourself. If you ever find yourself just playing scales, stop and say, wait a second, this is supposed to be exciting, it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be good, and it's supposed to be juicy. And so that's what we're going for in our practice every day. So use some of these in your practice. You might want to make a list of them. Great idea. Wish I thought of that. And keep it near your practice space. And that way you can always keep things lively. Okay? Have fun. And I look forward to seeing you again. Take care.